Hello everyone and welcome to the third session of WeJump Python Level 1 course. I hope all of you are doing well. So today we are going to learn about variables, input and output. So before we begin, shall we just take a quick recap about what we learned in the last class? I'll share my screen. Is this visible to everyone?
Yes. It's in.
Okay, then let's begin. First, let's have a quick recap. And
Yeah. So good evening, everyone. I hope all of you are doing okay. So as we learned in the last class about what is Google Colab, we'll just do a quick recap. But before that, I want to see if anybody remembers what it was. So can anybody try to remember and tell me what is Google Colab? No one? Shall I pick someone to say? Jeevita, can you tell me what is Google Colab? Okay, I'll just continue. So, Google Colab, short for Google Collaboratory, is an online platform provided by Google so that you can run a Python code and all the codes in your web browser itself. So, it's like an easy way of programming. So, the next one is Collabs environment. So, does any of you know what is runtime? Tanishka had sent a video saying what is runtime. Did any of you watch it? Okay. So, a runtime basically means it's the time where your code is being executed. Like, if we have to tell it in a definition thing, we can say it like runtime refers to the computing environment where your code is executed. So, it's just like the time that your code is, the time it takes for your code to be executed. So, that's runtime. And does anybody of you know what is CPU?
Central Processing Unit.
Yeah. Do you know the meaning of CPU? Like, I mean, not the meaning, the work, what it does. Yeah, it is the brain of the computer. So, does any of you know what is GPU and TPU?
Graphics processing unit.
Yes. And what about TPU? Okay. TPU means tensor processing unit. So, let's start from the first. So, CPU means central processing unit. It acts like the brain of the computer. So, you can think of it like the boss that tells everybody what to do and handles all the important tasks, like playing all the videos and doing all the major things of the computer. And GPU, which is graphics processing unit, you can think of it like the artist of the computer. What it does is it makes pictures and videos look very good. So when you're watching a movie or playing a game or something, the GPU, that is graphic processing unit, it helps make everything look really good. So it's basically like the artist of the computer. And CPU is like the boss and GPU is like the artist. I'm explaining to you in a simpler way so that you guys can keep it in mind. So now TPU, the full form of TPU is tensor processing unit. So TPU is like a super specialized brain for smart math. So it's used for like making artificial intelligence and machine learning. So it's like it helps the computers to understand things like recognizing our voice or uh, figuring out what we want to watch on YouTube. Like it's like what do you say? It's this super specialized brain for really smart math. So CPU is like the brain of the computer. It it is like it tells everybody everything how to do and what to do. And GPU is like the artist, which makes all the pictures and graphics look really good. And TPU is the super specialized brain, which helps in recognizing what you want and does what you want. So that is the function of CPU, GPU, and TPU.
Thank you, Anne. Now we have all have a quick recap of what we learned in the last class. So let's get into today's class. So the first topic is variables. So the definition is a variable is a storage location paired with a name which contains some known or unknown quantity of information referred to as value. Okay, now you might feel that this is a bit confusing. Do you feel this is a bit confusing? Or did you guys understand? Okay. Anyhow, like to explain this in a simpler way, think of the memory of the computer. In that, this variable is a small space. Okay. And let's say we are reserving a small space in the memory of the computer. And that space, we don't know what it might contain. Okay. And we are giving that space a name. That is the name of the variable. So the variable is like we are referring to the space in the memory and not the contents inside. Uh, did you guys understand that? Yeah. So I hope you understand. Now, that is the thing. It's a space and it might contain various things. We don't necessarily have to know what it contains. But as like variable, by variable, we will refer to that storage space. Now, let's see what is the purpose of variables. Variables are used to store data that can be manipulated and referenced in a program. So, like, what we are saying this is while running a program, that space in the memory, it might contain various things. It might be a small number or it might be a long list. So, while executing the program, at each and every step, we can't mention the entire thing, right? So, by just naming the variable, by like saying the name of the variable, we refer to that particular contents of the variable. So that's why we are saying variables are used to store data that can be manipulated and referenced in a program. Uh, did you guys understand this? Okay, I hope you understood. Now that we have learned what variables mean, now let's create variables. Okay, okay. Again, let me give you a simple example. In here, we have a variable called bowl, and the values are the noodles. So before saying this, let me say the characteristic of variables. So variables will always have three things. One is the name of the variable. The second thing is the type of the variable, that is the data type. And the third is the value, that is the data that it contains. So to understand this, let's use a simple example. Think of a bowl, okay? That is the variable, that is a storage location in the memory, okay? And just a minute. Okay, so as I was saying, sorry, there was some issues. So let's take this example. In this example, the bowl is the variable. So it is a location and it contains some things, okay, some values. And that data here is noodles. So the thing is, the bowl doesn't always have to contain noodles. It might contain water or any other thing, but the variable is the bowl. That is the important part. And the value is the data. Like the data or the value is the noodles in this example. So now you might ask, what is the type of the variable? And like in this, it is string. So we learn about types a bit further in the session. But first, let's try to create some variables. I'll share my screen again so you can see. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So let's create a variable. Let's create the same one from the example. So first, while creating a variable, we need the variable name. Can you guys tell me the name of any name, any variable name? Any name?
Box.
Sorry, can you repeat it?
Chocolate.
box.
Chocolate box. Okay. Okay. Now we have a variable called chocolate box. Now this variable needs some values, data in it, right? So what data do we want?
120.
Okay. So this is the value, the data that it contains. And now can you tell me what is the data type? Do you remember this? Can you tell me what is the data type? I guess you guys don't remember. It's okay. So here it is an integer because it is a number. So we'll learn about that a bit later. So now let's give a small simple command. Now if I run this program, what do you guys think will be the result? Anybody?
120.
Okay, let's try that. Yeah, yes, Sibinath and Jaswin, good job. The answer is 120. So here we have an example here. So the first we have a memory location and we call that location chocolate box. And in that we have some value that is 120. Okay, that it could be any value. And while running the program, we didn't say how much the value was. We just said chocolate box. And like after in the output of the program, we got the value. So I hope all of you understood this. It's a simple example. Uh, After practicing more, we can like use this variables to do various like things. Now let's get back to the presentation. Okay. So let's now learn about variable types. Before 2, 3 times I said variable types, and I guess some of you were a bit confused about what this variable types mean. So some common types, like you can see here, integer, float, string, and boolean. So by seeing these examples, can you identify or do you have an idea what variable types mean? You can say in the chat box, or you can say you don't have to feel nervous to say that. Anybody?
In integer variable, we use numbers.
Okay. Thank you, Bharat. So the what variable type is what kind of data this variable contains. Okay. So what kind of data it contains? So we know that variable can contain many types of data, and the variable type is what kind of data it contains. So if it is integer, if the type of the variable is integer, then it will contain whole numbers. Okay, like 1, 2, 3, 4 to infinity. Those are whole numbers. And while coding, we use int for integers. And then next we have float. These are decimal numbers. Decimal, what do you mean by decimal numbers? Can anybody say? Anybody? Okay. So decimals are nothing but point. The numbers with point, like 5.34, 3.14, these are decimal numbers. They are known as float in programming. And the next is string. We are all familiar with string. In the previous example, noodles was a string. Strings are nothing but a combination of letters or symbols. Like everything we type, like name or any words, those are all strings. And the next type is Boolean. These are true or false. In programming, we use bool for this, and these are nothing but true or false. Even apart from this, there are many types of variables like list. Do you guys remember list? Even if you don't, it's okay. The list contains various items in it. So there are different types of variables. So these are some common types that we use regularly while doing basic programming. And now we have learned some few common types of variables, and then these variables have two basic fundamental categories. Those are mutable and immutables. And what are mutables? These are the variables that can change their values. And what is that? You might feel confused. So mutables are, for example, lists or sets or dictionaries. Those usually, to explain simply, those might contain different objects or items in it. Okay, and during the programming, the value of these variables can change. And what are immutables? Their values cannot change during the program. And these are single unit variables like integers, booleans, and string and float. The ones that we saw in the previous slide, these all are immutables, meaning their value cannot change. Usually these are single unit values. Like, for example, integer, we know those are a whole number, say 120. So, and throughout the program, the value will be the same, that number. It won't change. But in the case of, let's say, list, which is a mutable, in that, let's say we have a list which is called fruits, and it might have apple, mango, and oranges. And during the program, it could have, like, we might add another item to the list, like another name of the fruit, like grape. So it can change. That is, their values change. But the other ones, the single unit variables, their values do not change, and they are called immutables. So that is the basics about variables, and we know all that we need to know about variables. Now, most importantly, we have learned how to create variables, right? I hope all of you understood. Have you guys understood?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now let me ask, can you guys tell me an example of an integer?
Excuse me, Maria.
Yes. Yes, Yukti.
Like in integer, negative values as well as positive values, right? Can we even use negative values also?
Um, it's whole numbers, so no.
Okay.
And then can anybody tell me an example of float with the definition, okay? Can anybody tell me an example of float?
3.7.
Okay. Now, can anybody tell me an example of Boolean? Okay. What is Boolean? Can anybody tell me that? Anybody? Okay. Can I call the name? Nitish, can you tell me what is a Boolean?
True or false?
Okay. Even Jaswin said true or false. Good job. That's the correct answer. And I'm sorry, but there is a correction. Yukti, before you asked if negative numbers are integers, right? They are actually. I made a mistake. I'm sorry, but even negative numbers are integers. Any number without decimal point, like whole numbers, are integers. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So now, can anybody share your screen? I hope you have Collab open. And can you create a variable? Can I call the name? Um, Renisha? Any volunteers? Anybody? Amog? You can also just say what you know if you're not able to share the screen.
Maria, shall I do? Or will you ask any new ones to do?
Yeah, let me just ask. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Anybody else wants to try? Bharat? Okay. So it's okay. Let's move on to the next topic. The next topic will be continued by Anne.
Okay. I'll just share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So, as you know, or as you might know, an input. So, what we're going to learn now is input and output. So, an input is used to get data from the user and it makes the program interactive. Okay. So, that is like the function of input. So, just a minute. Yeah. So, I have made some small programs here or codings. I'll just explain and tell you how all these work. Okay. So in the first code here, what we have done is age. Here age, what I have written here, age. This is a variable. So the function of input is to make the session interactive with the user. So what happens when you use input is I'll just play it and you can already understand like that. I'll just show you. Yeah. So what happens here is input is stored in the variable age. And what is written in input is enter your age. So input is a function. So if you write enter your age next in the brackets, then it means it'll say enter your age and give two colons and give you a space to write your age. So it's like you can write anything you want here. You can ask anything you want and you can do anything you want here. So it's basically a interactive program. So what it does is it's like a built-in function in Python. So what it does is it waits for the user to type something and returns the input as a string. So do you guys know what is a string?
Text.
Nobody? Okay, so should I pick someone or will anybody volunteer to say what is a string?
Text.
Yeah. So whatever you type in the input area that the computer's given you, whatever you type, it returns it to us as a string. So as you said, A string is nothing but a text, whatever you type. So if I just type 11, if I just type 11 here, it shows 11. And there is a reason why it shows 11. So we have stored input in age, and age is a variable. It's like a box. So age is like a variable, or you can think of it as a box. So what we're doing is we'll take input and put it inside the box, which is age. So, and then when we type print age, when we type print age, it doesn't print age like the word age. What it prints is what is inside age. You guys understand? I'll explain once more. So age is a variable, as you guys already know. So you can think of the variable age as a box where you can store anything. So as of now, what you have stored in age as a box is input. You just think we open the box, took input and put input inside age, which is the box. And when we type print age, what it does is not print the word age, but show us what is inside age, and that is input. So we have typed input as enter your age. So it will give us the space to write our age. And then when we print age below, it shows what you have typed earlier. You guys understand? Did any of you understand what I said just now?
Yes.
Okay. You guys have any doubts based on input and variable? How it's stored in variable, and any doubts on input? Okay, I guess you don't. So the next thing is float. So what is a float? Does anybody know what's a float?
Decimal.
Yeah. So what floats does is floats allow the representation of numbers with decimal points, making them suitable for uh, all the arithmetic problems or operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So that is what is normally called as float. So I'll just show you guys a small sample of float. So what we have here is x, and the value of x is 5.5. And this 5.5 is a float because it has a decimal point. And here the value of y is 7.9. And when you type print x plus y, that is, now x and y is a variable. So what you have done is think of it as a box again. You'll just take 5.5 and put it inside x, which is the box, and you'll take 7.9 and put it in y, which is the box. And when you type print x plus y, what it does is adds the value of x and y. It doesn't print it doesn't print the box itself. It prints what is inside the box. It adds what is inside the box. So when we run it, we'll get the value. So this is basically what a float is. It helps you do basic or complex arithmetic equations. So here what we have is height. So what you have written is height is a variable here. So height equals float. And we have written input and enter your height. So just now you guys have learned input. So can anyone of you tell me what input is?
It takes data from the user.
Yeah, it takes data from the user and makes the program more interactable. So what we have here is the float and input enter your height. All of this is stored in height, the variable, or you can even think it as a box. If you think of it as a box, it helps you understand it better. So that's why I'm telling about box again and again. So what you do is you take all of these float, input, enter your height, all of this, and put it inside the box called height. And when you say print height, it doesn't print height. What does it print? It prints what is inside the box height. So here we have typed input and enter your height. So when we run the code, what happens is we'll get a sentence called enter your height and we'll get a box because we typed input earlier. So what we can do is we can type something in here. Can any of you tell me one number, a height?
5.6.
Okay, 5.6. And now when we run it, we'll get 5.6 again. And the reason why we get 5.6 again is because we typed here print height. And we are not printing height, the word. What we are printing is what is inside height. And what is inside height is this. And we have already given our answer as 5.6. So that means it'll print 5.6 back to us again because that is what is stored in the height variable. So that is like the input and variable and float. So does any of you know what is output? Okay, input means typing the things. We'll give the data to we'll give the data to the computer. That is input. And what do you think an output is?
After inputting what computers give us as output.
Yeah. So you can even think of it as we'll put something in and we'll get something out, something like that. So an input means we'll give it is used to get data from the user. So and it makes the uh, programs more interactive. And what an output means is when the program, let's see, when the program accepts the input, then we'll get back the output. That is this. So an output is nothing but what you type in, you'll get the result. That is an output. What you're typing it in, that is an input. What you get back, the result. That is the output. So that's all about input, output, and float. And do you guys have any doubts on typing or anything? Doubts on anything here? Okay. Can I ask you guys a question then? Okay. The question is, why do we use the double inverted commas for all the sentences inside the input and print? And why have we not used double inverted commas here?
Because we are asking to do like enter your age is a thing which we asked to do, and we have to like it's important.
Yeah, you're right about that. What it does, what why we didn't use double inverted commas here is we're not if we okay. I'll just show you as what happens if we put double inverted commas here. is when you ask the computer to print the variable, you don't use double inverted commas because it's a variable. And when you are using any other sentences inside input or anything else, what you do is it calls what you're doing. For example, if I we can see what will happen if I don't put double inverted commas here, and if I put it on height. As you can see, the whole program becomes fully mistaked and bad. So what we need to do is, when we're typing something inside input, we always have to use double inverted commas. And when we are typing something that is a variable, we should not use double inverted commas because it's a variable. And now it's back because we didn't use double inverted commas for the variable, and we correctly use double inverted commas here. So it'll ask you something, you can type any numbers, and then you will get the result. And do you guys know why a decimal point came here? I typed just 22. Why did a decimal point come here? Anybody knows? It's used for arithmetic operations with decimal points, and it's used for multiplication, subtraction, division. Did anybody say something?
Because you are using float variable.
Yeah, because we're using float variable. So that's it from my side. If you guys have any doubts regarding input, output, float, or any other typing things, you can ask me right now. I can help you solve it. Anybody have any doubts? I can help you right now if you ask. Okay, so I guess
No.
nobody has any doubts. Did anybody say something? Okay. So I hope you all understood what I thought here. And still, if you have any doubts, you can feel free to ask me. So that's it from my side. Hope you all understood. And thank you.
Thank you, Anne. So, have you guys tried it out in your laptops once?
Yes, Maria.
Okay. If you have, you can share the screenshot in the chat. And now I'll pick some random names. Can you guys demonstrate what we learned today in collab? Shall I pick the names or do we have any volunteers? Anybody? As I said before, you guys don't have to be nervous. We are all learners, right? So you can share your screenshot or the screen. If you're feeling stuck somewhere, we can work through it together. Okay, Yukti has sent the screenshot. Yeah, good job. Anybody else? Hmm. So, Jivita, can you try? Can you share your screen? Is that okay? And can you?
Yeah, but I have made notes, but I was not trying in laptop.
Oh, okay.
Can I just explain?
Oh, it's okay then. It's okay. Anybody else? What about Sakshi? If you're having any trouble, you can say that also. Uh, okay, Olivia, can you? Okay, I think we are almost out of time today.
I don't know how to send it, and my brother's not here. He is there, and I cannot send it. Like,
Okay, so you want to take a screenshot?
yeah,
Okay, so wait a second. So, like, to take a screenshot, you can go to the chat, and there below that you can there are format, emoji, and file. Okay, did you see that?
where is
Oh,
it?
okay. Eugene ma'am has said shortcut key. You can try Control plus V. Okay. Okay, you can try that. So the assignment for this week, before I say that, let me tell you guys. So most of you have joined to the Google Classroom. I'm happy about that. I think two members are yet to join. It's okay. If you have not joined, please join with the link shared in the Team 3 group in WhatsApp. And about the assignments, the previous week's assignment, only 5 have submitted. 7 assignments are yet to be submitted. So I'm just reminding you guys to submit it by Wednesday. And if you have any problem or any issues or difficulties in submitting it by that time, then you can message me, and then it's okay. You can you can inform me, but do try to submit it by then. And if you are having trouble in doing the assignment, if you're having confusions or doubts, if in that case also you can contact me and or any other instructor. So this week's assignment is to create a self-introduction application. You can ask like through input. You have to get the information through input, like name, age, or whatever information you want, and create a self-introduction application and get the output through print. I'll share the assignment in the chat box. Okay. I hope you guys got it. Yeah. So I hope you understood the assignment. If you have any doubts, you can contact me. So it's about time for today. So thank you, everyone. I hope you understood. It was
When we should
great.
submit?
By Wednesday. Is that okay? By Wednesday?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining. So let's return back to the main meeting.